Okay, welcome to our bookie call and Fred, you're going to be conducting the book when we get to the book. But I thought we'd go ahead and start this call today. The weekend is July 25th and 26th. And our agenda, ultimately, we're going to get to Programming the Universe here, hosted by Fred. And we're having a preliminary discussion right now about ground rules. So Manu, we were talking about ground rules, and I mentioned the fact that you and I had a conversation after the call, and I invited you to breathe and to be patient, and I've invited Fred to breathe and be patient tonight. But Anne has had an issue with these kind of ground rule things over the years, and it's frustrating for Anne, and she's not really know how to solve it. So what we're going to do is we're going to model solving the problem tonight. Manu, here's the issue. The issue is that when Kelly did the, now I'm going to also, Manu, let me finish my whole thing. When Kelly started the meetings, we were to be on time. That's the big issue. We're going to express our feelings. We're going to be on time. We're going to express our feelings. Then we're going to have our discussion. If somebody's late occasionally because stuff happens, that's okay. But the goal is to be at the appointed time. Now, I remember I talked with you 2 weeks ago. You mentioned to me that, yes, you sat with Kelly and you told Kelly that this was a very early time for you in the morning. And in fact, if you want to talk about that conversation right now, I'd love to hear what you and Kelly talked about, Manu. Is that okay? Yep, you're muted.
Okay. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. I'm really serious about this. And mark my words, I'm serious. When Kelly wanted to set what he called the Asia group, because we had the initial call, he involved people from the Americas and Africa, and Fred was there. Kelly asked me to participate, and he proposed a time to me. I said, no, I can't. 5 o'clock every day, every weekend, take away my social life, and I wouldn't do it. So Kelly insisted, and I finally accepted. But the proviso was, I will make my best to be there. And that was the agreement. And this has been going for years. I've done this thing for 10 years plus, this Asia group. And the person you're talking about, that is Fred, left this group. And we had no issue with it. If you want to be about the guides and say, I have to be here at 5 o'clock every Sunday morning, I'm not going to be. So it is a take or leave. It's a very important issue to me. I have warned many, many times. As soon as Fred rejoined this group, he raised this point. I explained. There was the first tussle. I explained again. I said, I don't want to be here on time, but I want to participate. But if the 5 of you, including a lot of that are invested in the group, don't want me to participate in this group, you tell me that if you're not at 5 o'clock, don't come. And I'll stop coming to the group. It's come down to that.
Okay.
I respect everybody here, but I want also to be respected. I'm not a kid.
You're not a what?
So that's my point. I've summarized what it is. I might be emotional about it, but this has been going for too long.
Yeah. You're not a what? A kid? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Before we go further, you can be here at 5:10. You cannot be there 10 minutes early. What bullshit is that?
Well, hey, Fred, you can.
I say again, I've said again. Hold on. We have to hold to rule.
You can be here at 5:10, upset everybody, but you cannot be there at 5.
Hold on.
What is this nonsense?
Okay. I've never, everybody is here. I've never said to this guy nonsense.
Yeah.
I've never said to him BS.
Yeah, I know.
And this is what it
Okay.
constantly bothered me. Sir, if you're not happy about me, you don't want to see me, you bugger off. But don't call me name. I cannot take that.
All right, but
You don't
Didn't call your name. I
look,
said,
hold
I
it.
said,
no, don't
I'm
call
gonna
me
mute
name.
I said
everybody.
your
I'm gonna
discourse
take
is
that.
non.
Okay.
Look, I'm going to mute. I just muted you guys because Manu, you immediately started taking things personally and got emotional. And just because Fred is holding his ground and being firm, you get emotional. And don't say bugger off. We're not going to be cussing at each other. We're not going to be taking things personally here. So please don't hold it. Fred is not your responsibility, and you are not Fred's responsibility. So I'm going to turn the microphones back on and invite everybody to breathe, because we don't want a shouting match. You got to unmute. I'm going to ask Fred to unmute. And so, like, let's have a talking stick. When a person's talking, they continue to talk until they're complete. When they're complete, when you're done, say I'm complete or I'm done or something like that. And we're not going to talk over each other. We're going to hold a talking stick. And if I have to run the mic to control it, I'll do it. But I'd rather not. Let's just be courteous. If someone's speaking, we're going to wait for them to say I'm complete or I'm done, or I, as the host, am going to say, are you complete? And we're not going to talk over each other. Okay, so Manu, what I heard you say was that you made a deal with Kelly that because of the time zone situation of having to come at 5 a.m, that Kelly made agreement with you that he would be loose on the ground rule and allow you to come in whenever you wanted to, basically. And that's what you said, right, Manu? Okay, good. And then, Fred, what I heard you say was, well, if you can show up at 10 minutes after, why can't you just show up 10 minutes earlier? Is that what you said, Fred? To Manu, you said that. You're muted, so I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
You said to Manu, or you said to us as a group, if Manu can show up 10 minutes late, he can get up 10 minutes earlier and be here on time. What's the big deal?
Exactly. That's what I said. That's what I said.
No, that's what
That's
I thought.
what I said. It's the way I look at it is that it's on purpose, not making the effort so that things go smoothly.
Okay, wait, come back on the phone again. You said, I didn't understand what you said.
When you show up every single time, 10 minutes or more late, it's on purpose making the effort, refusing to make the effort so things go smoothly. It's on purpose. There's no difference. Setting up your alarm clock 10 minutes early, be there on time. That's it. There's no discussion to have about that. Either you're on time or you're not. But if you can be late, but not every single time.
Okay.
This is really a joke.
Yeah.
We should not even have this discussion. Be on time, that's it.
Yeah, okay, well, that's what the discussion we're having now is, being on time. But don't make it personal, Fred. It isn't about Manu, it's about the ground rule. Okay, I'm going to mute myself and allow Lee to talk. And Lee, don't unmute until you've been recognized, okay, in the future, because it creates an echo.
If I remember correctly, Manu said that he wanted to have a social life. His day is Sunday morning, early. And I know how Steve and I like to have a social life on Saturday night, but we've had to give it up. So we have gone to another night, and we went to Thursday this week and had a wonderful time. But I understand that there are situations where you have no control of your fun time, your weekend. And I understand that, Manu, and I appreciate that. There is a situation where if you do decide and we give all our permissions for you to come in 10 or 15 minutes late, that you don't interrupt what is going on until you are asked to interrupt. You can raise your hand and then you can interrupt that way. Is that okay?
Okay, so let me summarize what you said here. What you said is that
You muted, Steve.
so Lee, what you said is you said that that the Saturday night call interrupts our social life, and that we chose to go out last Thursday night instead of tonight to make sure that we could be here on time. And so we've adjusted our social life to make this call. Now, you were kind of speaking for both of us, and you really don't have the right to do that. You can speak for yourself. As far as I'm concerned, everybody knows in this call that on occasion I have a family situation where my son is playing in a gig, or I'm actually going to do a gig, and I've started the call remotely and come in a few minutes late. So on that regard, and I'd be happy to accept the thing that if I can't be here at the appointed time, that I shouldn't be interrupting the meeting or coming in late. I could accept that, and I will just start the meeting and not participate. I can do that because it comes down to, so I heard you right. Is that right, Lee? I want to make sure that everybody, and so you're inviting Manu to adjust his social life to be able to be at the meeting. And that if we decide that it's okay to be late to the meeting, that he can come in late, but then make sure he participates in the regular order. I think one of the things that, because I've talked about this with Lee, are you complete? Is that what you said, Lee? I don't want to put words in your mouth. I will say this, I've talked about this with you, and what you have said is that if somebody can be late, but if they come into the meeting late and change the topic and take us off direction, that's not good. If they're going to come into the meeting late, take a breath, see what's going on, and contribute to the content of the meeting as it's happening, that's okay. That's what you said, right? Okay. If I were writing ground rules, I would say, if we decide it's okay to be late, if okay to be late, that I'll come in on topic, that I'll take time, come in on topic, and I won't change the topic drastically, which happens on occasion. So I'm going to make a note of that. I also want to, is that a fair representation of what you said? Okay, Manu, I want to come back to what you said. You said, what I heard you say was that if you have to make a choice about being on time, if you have to make a choice about being on time, and if you're going to be late, and there's no being late, that you will choose to keep your social life and not come to our meeting on Saturday. Is that what I heard you say?
I said, if everybody else is insensitive to the fact that 5 o'clock is not 11 o'clock at night, 5 o'clock requires that you wake up at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And that is on a Saturday for me and my values, then I'll choose that.
Okay.
I will not compromise on it.
All right. And
if that is the consensus here, that is not acceptable to the group, I will come out of the group.
Okay. That's not really what's being discussed, Manu. And
no, that's what I said.
I know.
I wanted the message
not really
to be
what's
clear.
being discussed. Let me share with you what the actual ground rule is. The ground rule is as we participate in this call, if we're going to participate in this call, we're going to be here at the appointed time. We're going to be here sharp on time. And it will be, if stuff happens and you're occasionally late, that's one thing. But coming back to your point, that if we're going to say that it's the ground rule that everyone participating in the call will be here at the appointed time, and there'll be no exceptions, then you would rather have your social life and not be on the call than meet that ground rule. Is that what I heard you say? Yeah. Okay.
I put
that's what I said.
I put the original rules
I'm talking, sir.
in the chat.
I'm talking.
Well, no, you both
okay. Listen to
time.
me. Yeah, I started.
Let's don't be bossy to each other. Let's be courteous.
Okay.
That's pretty
So
good.
I'm saying that if that is the rule for the Saturday call,
Yeah.
for the Saturday, we're talking about the Saturday call.
Yeah.
Then I'll choose that.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
and I like the way you said that. You said that if that becomes the rule for the Saturday call, then you will choose not to attend the call, that you're going to maintain your social life. See, now that's good. That's reasonable, because earlier when you said something, you took it personally, like if you don't want me here or anything. It's not about you. It's about maintaining the ground rules and the integrity of the phone call. So if we decide that the ground rule is the appointed time with few exceptions, or else choose not to come. That could be the ground rule. And you're saying that if that's the ground rule, you will choose not to come. And is that what I'm hearing you say? Okay, really good. All right, I'm complete. Fred.
I don't believe one word of what Manu is saying. No. I don't believe one word of it. What he wants is to make an exception so he can show up late no matter what time we
Well,
start.
see, except
He shows up late. He shows up late on Wednesdays when it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon or 4 o'clock in the afternoon for him. So sometimes there's an excuse. Sometimes, oh, I did not look my watch. Sometimes it's, oh, sorry, I'm late with no reason. So let's try something. Let's make the starting time at 5:10 and prove that he can either make it on time or not make it on time. We start at 5:10 and then everybody's happy. And then we wait 3 weeks and we'll know it's going to come out because he's not ready to make any effort to respect the group.
Okay, but see, Fred, you've taken a very good suggestion, and then all of a sudden you personalized it and made an accusation, and you made an assumption. So what you're suggesting is, hey,
I did not make an assumption. I say do not believe what he says. That's not an assumption. That is, my opinion is that what he says is a lie. Either it's voluntary lying, or it's because he has no idea how his brain works.
Okay, Fred. These are accusations. That is not appropriate to make accusations. Yeah, nobody's here to call somebody a liar. I think what you did say that was constructive was, and this is what I hear you saying.
I did not call him a liar. No. Sorry, I did not call him a liar. I said I don't believe it, and I said this is a lie. This is not calling him a liar. This is putting a judgment on what he said.
Okay. And so we're supposed to suspend judgment and just focus on the rules. And what I heard you say was you're happy to move this call from its present time to start 10 minutes later so that Manu can come in at the appointed time.
He won't do it, so
no,
we can change the time. We can change the time 2 hours later. He will still be late.
But there are the 4 agreements that I don't take things personally.
And no, the number 1 agreement is in the chat, and and Manu is not respecting it. So I don't feel obligated to respect any other agreement.
Well,
because it's been broken repeatedly, and there's no action taken. So there's no consequence for breaking the rules.
Look, just because I'm a jerk doesn't mean you need to call me a jerk. Okay, I'm going to look at the chat and see what. Because the 4 agreements are code of honor to new study. Now, where did you get this from?
It's from Kelly.
This is from Kelly?
That's the original. I probably modified it a little bit, but that's the original.
Beyond time, it shows respect for the only non-renewable resource of others. It is a chance to build trust and let the designated person know if you will be absent or late. Okay, good. So, and I think this is really a good ground rule. The reason why we want to be on time is because it shows respect for our limited resource, non-renewable resource of time. We don't have to start over, and it's a chance to build trust among members. So if we can all count on each other to show up, then we learn that we can count on each other. That's what I think.
The corollary is that if you do not show respect, you show disrespect. Okay, that's a corollary.
That's a corollary. And we could, okay, good. And then if we're going to be not on time, we let the designated person know if we are going to be absent or late. Okay, and that's a good rule. That's a good rule. I'm glad we brought this up. These are ground rules. Number 2, support all questions. Why did someone ask that question? Nothing is irrelevant. Support all questions. Oh, why did someone ask that question? I don't understand what that means. I do understand nothing is irrelevant. One person's tangent may bring the entire group to a deeper understanding and steer the conversation to unplanned areas.
Okay, let me explain. The why did someone ask that question is that even if the question seems taking us away from the topic discussing, there might be a reason grounded in a why did that person ask this question at that moment, which may be the link between the two topics, what we were discussing and where this is taking us.
Right. So if somebody brings in something that's completely off topic, we're patient with it, mindful of it. We give it a chance to be discussed and determine and give it an answer, even if it's apparently off topic. Is that what that's saying?
That's what it's saying. After that, the modalities of implementing that probably depend on who's leading the call. We can either address it immediately or say, well, look, let's finish what we're talking about and get back to this later.
Yeah, I totally agree with you about one person's tangent may bring the entire group to a deeper understanding of the topic at hand. I think this is the Bohemian dialogue principle that Richard likes to talk about. Do you agree with that, Richard? That sounds very Bohemian, don't you think?
Yes.
We support all questions. Nothing is irrelevant. One person's tangent may bring the entire group to a deeper understanding and steer the conversation to unplanned areas. So that's very Bohemian, and you think that's cool, right, Richard?
Well, yes, that part is Bohemian. I think the other part with Bohemian in the context of what we're doing is the guidelines, and they're flexible enough that we can keep coming back to them, and we can end up doing something like has just been suggested, that, well, maybe we adjust the time, maybe we adjust the time by a minute or 2 minutes or an hour. We've had that issue, I think, mostly in the North American time zones when we switched from daylight to standard. At least that's the effect on me. And for those that are in the mountain zone, that means instead of starting at 7 o'clock in the morning, I start at 6 o'clock in the morning for half the year, so to speak. But the Bohemian dialogue for me is that the rules are rules, but they're also guideline rules, and we can come back and work to adjust them. I think we get into trouble if we lock them down at some point for whatever reasons. Then I think we're giving up, at least in part, some of the suspended judgment, Bohemian dialogue, whatever we call it. And Bohemian dialogue, in my opinion, or my experience, is new in terms of being able to practice it. And it takes a lot of practice. And so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm complete.
Okay, good. You know, and I want to propose that as part of this conversation that we bring in the 5 agreements, which are, and we can maybe vote on them next week. I'll get a copy ready and distribute them. But the first is be impeccable with my words. I don't take anything personally, or I don't make it personal with anybody else. I don't make any assumptions about what is said. This goes back to being impeccable with my words. I might go back and ask, what did you mean by this word? And not assume that not make an assumption about what the word means. And then the 4th agreement is do the best I can. And the 5th agreement is be skeptical about everything, including what I say myself. And so I don't have that fifth one exactly right, but I'm going to find it and I'll propose it. I think we ought to make that part of our ground rules. Let me see. Manu, Richard, do you still have your hand up?
I put it up again, so I'm not in
Okay, in your sequence.
order. Somebody else is first.
Okay, good. Manu's first, and then I think, and then Anne. So Manu, please. You have to mute.
I want this discussion to be applied and observing what we call the rules. If you read 2 and 3, and you listen to this discussion, how many insults have come out? How many times, even in the past, in our discussions, as we said, somebody is going errand, and who said so? I think that for as long as we are not going to restrain ourselves to say we came here to put our best possible resources into helping each other to grow and start taking things as a classroom, it might work for some people, it might not work for others. We spend 30 minutes here discussing this stuff, 39 minutes. Over 39 minutes, maybe we progress, but in practice, I haven't heard. I'm saying in a short discussion that we have here, those 30 minutes from somebody on this call, there have been violation of rule number 2 and number 3 that he said was original from Kelly.
I guess that came after violation of rule number 1, repeatedly for 50 times out of 51.
I'm sorry, I'm going to shut myself. I'm not talking anymore. Thank you. In 10 minutes, I'm going to quit. I'm not going to talk. And this individual has interrupted me again, and nobody said anything. Nobody even gesticulated. And it's like that all the time. It's
Look,
like an attack on me.
I said something.
No, hold on. Let me
said
finish.
Something. So you cannot say that he interrupted you and nobody said anything. He interrupted you and I spoke up. So let's tell the truth about what happened. Go ahead.
Okay. So, Fazon, tell him please to respect me that way. I have never say, hold on. I have never say, and you can go back to stuff. I have never say to this individual, he is errant. I have never say he's a liar.
Yeah, but
or
look,
he says a lie. No, hold on. Let me talk, and you
but
finish.
you're making things personal, Manu.
No, but it is about personal because
well,
every
it shouldn't be about
contribution.
personal. I'm going to
Okay,
share.
thank you.
I'm going to share the 4 agreements, the 5 agreements. Fred shared them
I put them in the chat.
I know he put them in the chat. So let's go through them. And I think these are good ground rules. And I should have said, okay, we're going to have this intense discussion, but here are the ground rules under which we're going to have the discussion. And everybody agreed to these ground rules. Then let's have this discussions. The first agreement, let your word be impeccable. And then it has a little discussion about here what that means. Part of this is I choose the right word. And if I say the wrong word, I change it. I want to let my word be impeccable and my words. And there's a big discussion about here. Second agreement, whatever happens, don't make it personal. I like that. In other words, I'm not going to make it personal about Manu. I'm not going to make it personal about Fred. I'm going to come back to the principle that's being talked about. The third agreement, never make assumptions. I can't assume what you're going to do in the future. So I don't want to project and say what you're going to do in the future. I'm never going to make assumptions. This is very important. The fourth agreement, always do your best. So this is cool because this talks about building trust. I know that everybody in this group is doing their best. I'm pretty sure of that. And to give yourself SMART goals, these are the goals. Be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and temporally defined. I just really like this. A person should read this. If I were going to be conducting a seminar, I would be going through this word for word, and maybe we should do it next time and make sure everybody agrees with every word, but always do your best. And the fifth agreement is be skeptical, but learn to listen. I've interpreted this, what I heard on this one, the way I've learned it is be skeptical about everything, including myself. Because there are a lot of times when I want to believe myself and put my own beliefs above somebody else. And the whole concept is that nobody's belief is above anybody's belief, right? And so these are the 5 agreements. And so I think this is really profound. And maybe we should go through, we can either invite everybody to go through these and then come back and vote on them, or we could go through it word for word and vote on them at that time. But these 5 agreements are critical. They are linked in the chat, thanks to Fred. Okay. All right, good. So I'm going to stop sharing. But I'm going to ask Fred, I just shared your 5 agreements. Did you want to comment on those agreements?
I will follow those agreements when number 1 agreement, be on time, will be agreed upon. Until then, I'm not held by anybody, by anything, by any agreement that nobody else, that some other people do not want to respect. And one more thing is that somebody has complained, Manu has complained that he's not being respected. The only agreement in the Code of Honor that says, that uses the word respect is number 1, be on time. It shows respect. Be late, it shows disrespect. So I have no doubt that Manu is projecting there.
Well, great. And you didn't need to project at the end. I think that the focus here, Fred, is be on time. It shows respect for the only non-renewable resource of others. It is a chance to build trust. I think that speaks for itself. And if we are impeccable with our words, and I say I'm going to be here at the appointed time, Utah, it's 9 o'clock right now. And if we move it to 9:15, whatever that time is, I'm going to be on time because it shows respect. And to not be on time is to show a lack of respect. And in a way, it's a lack of, if I don't show up on time, it's a lack of respect for myself because I'm not being impeccable with my word. And I want to be impeccable with my word. And here's what's really important. I would like everybody to hear this, including Manu. And that is that when I am impeccable with my word and I show up, I really respect myself in that regard too. So this is for me, and it's for everybody in that regard. I'm complete. Are you complete, Fred?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Okay, good. Richard, your hand is up next. Anna, your hand is up next. Go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, one of the things that sort of came to my mind as we were in dialogue about this is what Angelus Arrien had to say, and it sort of continues off of what you just said a minute ago about showing up. And she had 4 things that said show up, pay attention, tell the truth.
The line is a little open.
And don't get over invested in the outcome. And I think this whole question about be open to the outcome, but don't get over invested in it. And I think that's another aspect of dialogue that is important to kind of work on. And so for me, if an outcome is a set time or an outcome is that this equals that in the sense of you do this and that shows either your integrity or it shows your respect, isn't necessarily exactly what that means. There is some flex in there. But I think that I've grown up in a world that is really focused on, if you want, the outcome. Um, and it's focused on the things and not the dynamic that is working in order to make the thing um, comfortable, the sense of bonding. Um, and that's the dialogue. That's the interconnection that's going on, and often it's very important, but it's often silent. It's unseen, and so that's why I like things like Angeles Arrien's notion of show up, pay attention, tell the truth, and um, don't get overinvested in the outcome. And so for me, telling the truth about I'm affected by how we meet the timeline. Um, that's important, and it should be honored and respected. I also like the idea of whether or not there's some flexibility, whether it's a slight change in terms of the startup time, and see whether that works better for everybody. Um, but that's in the spirit of maintaining the relationship, and it's not in the spirit of holding up a particular fixed notion about what should happen and what it means. So I'm complete. Thank you.
Can you tell me what the name of the person that says show up, pay attention, tell the truth, and don't get overinvested in the outcome?
Angeles Arrien.
How do you spell that?
Angeles is like Los Angeles, and Arrien is Arrien.
Like this in the chat? I-E-N,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Fred, thank you for posting that in. That's really important. Richard, can I talk with you a little bit?
Thank you, Richard.
Can I talk to you a little bit, Richard, about what you said?
Sure.
What I heard you say was like, don't get overinvested in the outcome. What I want to challenge is the concept that don't get overinvested in the outcome does not compromise show up. I think showing up in and of itself is an exercise in being impeccable with my word. And I think that too many human beings on the planet are not impeccable with their word, and they make excuses all the time for not showing up for whatever freaking reason. And if it's not one reason, it's another reason. I used to do workshops like maybe you've heard of Landmark or LifeSpring or EST. I used to conduct those workshops. We had really solid ground rules. And when people didn't show up on time, it reflected every aspect of their lives. And the beautiful thing about having a community like ours is where we can come to that and say, okay, in this one time in my life, I am going to show up because I said I was going to show up. And I'm not going to compromise that. And to use your fourth point, don't get overinvested in the outcome, completely undermines the power of the first point, which is show up. I'm convinced that 80% of success in life is just simply showing up. And I don't think that should be compromised. And I think your show up is absolutely parallel with the first agreement. Let my word be impeccable. If I say I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here. In the rest of my life, I maybe never show up on time. But for this group, for this reason, to build this trust with my family, I'm going to show up on time. And as our rule said, that Fred put in the thing from Kelly, oh crud, now I unmuted myself accidentally and I lost my track. But it goes back to Kelly's rule that, the rule is that if I'm not going to be on time, I just am conscious enough of it that I'm impeccable enough with my word that I'm going to contact the leader and say, I'm going to miss this meeting or I'm going to be late to the meeting, be beyond the appointed time. I like to say I'm never late. I'm never late for anything. I am beyond the appointed time, but I'm always on time from my experience, right? And showing up 10 minutes beyond the appointed time creates an experience for everyone. And if I'm going to follow the ground rules proposed by Kelly initially, I'm going to respect everybody. I'm going to be on time. It's going to build trust when I do that. And then I can trust myself. I'm going to say one more thing about being impeccable with my word. I know a lot of people. I was trained in hypnotherapy. I was trained as a clinical hypnotherapist and was involved in a bunch of hypnotherapy with people. And this idea of people not being their word, and the fact that if I'm not my word in a particular case, it really is reflected in all aspects of my life. And if I can have at least one place where I'm going to be impeccable with my word at any cost, it trains me in every aspect of my life. I actually don't remember what I was going to say, but that's a good way to pull that off. So, Richard, I'm going to propose to you that don't get overinvested in the outcome, should have no bearing on show up. Show up means I'm going to be impeccable with my word. I'm going to show up. And if I'm not going to show up on time, I'm going to contact the leader in advance and say, I'm going to be beyond the appointed time. That is our rule. Most of us do that. I get messages from everybody in this group saying, I'm not going to be here or I'm going to be late. So I'm complete with that. Richard, are you okay with everything that I said?
Most of it, but not really.
Tell me what.
Well, the other part of what I get out of the outcome part is that be open to the outcome, address it perhaps the way you've just addressed it. But it also says, in a sense, don't get your shirt in a knot over it. And come back to a dialogue that can shift it, adjust it, and that way, eventually, we get all four things working in harmony. And we get things like, the other thing that comes up to me is when is the time right? In a Western tradition, the time is right when you show up on the time that I said you should show up or that we all agreed on. Some other cultures say show up when the time is right. And it might be right on the nose, it might not be. But the time is right for them, just like you said a minute ago. And so I think one has to have this kind of flex, if you want, in order to mix the interconnection part with the node part. And I think the idea that we get overinvested in the outcome is that we get overinvested in the thing, whatever that thing is. And for us right now, the thing is this on-time factor. And so this is worth the dialogue. It's worth the discussion. It's worth the concept of suspended judgment as I listen and try and hear what everybody's saying. I listen to you talking about how you kind of put those four things together and what they mean to you in terms of the first one. And so I have to be open to that kind of listening. So yeah, I value this dialogue. I value the idea of asserting ourselves. I value the idea of sitting back and trying to hear what each of us is saying and what it means in terms of our interactions. Yeah. So I'm complete. Thank you.
Oh, good. And Anne, if you can just be patient for another minute here. First of all, I want to acknowledge Manu for saying, look, if we're going to set the time at a firm time, at the appointed time, what we're doing now, I would choose my social life over being at the call. I'm excited about that, Manu. That's profoundly wise to say that thing. And so it's not about us making you bad and wrong. It's about you choosing how you're going to live your life and how much sleep you're going to get with respect to your social life. So Manu, I very much respect that. Richard, coming back to you, I agree with you that there's something imperialistic and totalitarian and authoritarian about the idea of showing up when I said. I said this is the appointed time, so show up when I said. And that's not what this conversation is about. I want to be really clear about this. There's a nuance to this, and that is that we show up here as equals, And the reason why we show up, your word, at the specific time is not because you said to show up at the time, it's because I said I was going to show up at the time. And so this is a real exercise in me being my word. To me, it comes back to John 1:1, in the beginning was the word. And if I want to live my life to its maximum, I need to be my word. And so I'm going to be here at the appointed time, not because you said it. I'm going to be here at the appointed time because we talk, we agreed to a time, and then I say, yes, I am going to be here at that time, not because you said so, but because I said so. One of the major things in life is I tell people when we're doing a workshop and a workshop thing, I'll give them instructions. I'll say, do this instruction, not because I said so, do it because you see the value and you said so. And if you don't see the value, then sit down. Don't have to do this, just like Manu. He doesn't have to be here. He can decide to choose his social life. And I'm not going to hold Manu anything. I'm not going to think any less of Manu for that. So I think this is about, it's not about authoritarian. It's about me being impeccable with my word. If I say I'm going to be here at a certain time, and if I'm not going to be here, I'm going to call the guy who's in charge, the leader, or somebody in the group, and make sure that they bring the message that, hey, I'm not going to be here at the appointed time. So are you good with that? That it's not because I said it's the time. I'm not going to be here because you said it's the time. I'm going to be here because I said it's the time. You may have requested it, but I agree to it. It's my ground rule. I'm impeccable with my word. You get that difference?
Well, I get the difference in terms of the way you're describing it, and that wasn't quite what I was getting at. What I was getting at is the combination between the thing, the node, and the interconnection. And it's not an either or for me. It's a both and I, as I said, I've been raised in a culture that puts more of the emphasis on the node part, which to me is kind of on the outcome part, and not enough on the interconnection part. And they need to work their way together. That's all.
I like that. Thank you for clarifying. I'm complete. Are you complete?
Yeah.
Oh, good. And thank you so much for your patience.
Okay, apologies though, because the line broadband is strong, but this meeting line was in and out for me a lot today. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to address two main things. One is the whole idea of let me just put my thoughts in order. I've been putting in order. The one thing is that when we wait, now I'm losing it. I'm so sorry.
Absolutely, take your time. Breathe. It's your floor. Don't feel any pressure.
Yeah, I want to deal with number 4 after this. Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. Now I remember. I think all of us make the effort. This one I want to address, and I hope it's dealt with once and for all. It doesn't keep coming back up, right? Because all of us make the effort to join the meetings, Wednesday and the Saturday, Sunday meetings, right? So and some are putting in way more effort than even us showing up, right? And I think the effort of coming into the meeting should not be brought up over and over again. Okay.
Wow, your video is frozen, Anne. Anne, maybe turn off your video so that we can hear you talking.
We all sorry.
So Anne, your video clogged up.
Sorry, was it?
Your video clogged up, and we couldn't hear you. You may want to turn off your video so that we can hear your audio more clearly. Do you want to try that?
Okay. All right.
And then start back from where you said. I think. Let me just rephrase. We all make an effort, but you don't think anybody should talk about how much effort it took to get to the meeting. That's what I heard you say. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Because doesn't matter what time it is, because it's just it's a commitment we made. We choose to come. Doesn't matter what time it is, and yeah, if it's not convenient, then we don't show up, right? If I have trouble sleeping and I end up sleeping and cannot wake up, like say if it's the timing is not right, so but that's beside the point. The point is that everyone is making the effort to be here. Some are making more effort than others in order to get this thing going for us. And then the others, some are also now in charge of the books and moderating. So I think the effort is there. So I just want to make sure it doesn't get brought up again. Yeah. Or anybody doing more than the others, and us appreciating, yes, that one I will bring up. We will bring up to thank the person who's doing it. Yeah. Now the next thing I just want to share is number 4. Tell your truth, agree to disagree. One of the main things I love about our meetings is that, you know, we speak very bluntly. We speak very bluntly. But it gets very difficult. Greed is the one that I think is the big issue here. When I say take personally, it is the answers. Yeah, don't take it as though you're being attacked or anything like that. You know, because it's quite scary for us. You know, because then who's going to speak up or disagree to something if it's going to be taken very, very personally. You know, and I like it that no, doesn't mean that we don't speak the truth. We've done it before numerous times. We've spoken the truth, but we generally it's like, okay, we hear it, but just don't take it personally. That's the main thing. And we've had words where it's been very like disagreeable in nature, but it wasn't personal. So things like even raising the hands and stuff like that before we were able to like you look at the conversation today, there were people coming in and out and so on and so forth. And that's a conversation that we've been having all these years. And I didn't see anything wrong with it, you know. And this raising hands is just that, okay, if you want to just make sure that you get a voice, then you just raise your hands. But we never made it like you must raise your hands to speak, you know. But the point is that we come in and out, and everybody's respecting that. It's like, okay, can I say something to this person? What they said, it's just has been amazing, you know. So I really, really request, and there are such things as social taboos. And when there is a mistake made at the social taboo level, and people do get upset, yes, it will come a point where sometimes people will not the apology, you know, because it's not that simple thing that to accept it. It can be big enough too, because we do make some. This is the key thing. Don't accept the apology. Then just go with it, because they have the right not to accept it, because if it's a big one, all right. So, and it's up to us then to make it right, to get back the respect for us again, you know, to show up differently again in the future, not do it again. That's the only way we can show up, right? But we have to agree to disagree without taking it personal, and becomes an attack, yeah. And if a person is not in the right, please don't attack. That was very scary for me, yeah. Because I'm also under that situation right now in my organization. It's been happening for years now, and because I'm being held accountable for something I didn't do wrong, but the person has turned it around, make me wrong, you know. And worst part is attack. Wow, it's unrelentless. It's ridiculous. So I really feel very strongly that, you know, make a mistake, then we just move on and make it right. That's it. Yeah. No, yeah. Okay. That I'm complete there.
Okay, so Anne, your audio was chomping out a little bit. So can you just summarize your 2 or 3 key points? I think I got most of it about the attack and not bringing up an excuse why I'm late, but quickly just review your points, please, so that I have them down here.
Okay, yeah. One is that all of us make the effort to be here, all right? So let's not just keep talking about effort coming here. Number 2 is that this one, agree to disagree, because that one is so important. That this we will disagree. All of us will disagree. And we will speak up. And some will speak stronger than others. It's how we react to how they speak, you know. And so please don't attack. Just, if you disagree, state you disagree, but please don't attack. And don't take it personally. Yeah, that would be, and and if the social taboos or mistakes made, again, people have the right to not accept the apology. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So basically, you basically said everybody makes an effort to be here. So one person's effort, it doesn't do any good when somebody tells how they made such an effort to be here. Everybody makes an effort, and so don't bring that up again. That's one thing I heard you say, right?
Mm.
And then you went with the other thing is that, hey, it's okay to agree to disagree, so we can end up having different points of view about any issue, whether it's being on time or anything else, and not be in a personal attack. And the final thing is don't attack. And Anne, my proposition is that if we go with that, the Toltec rule, don't make it personal.
Yeah.
We've achieved that.
Mm.
You know, if somebody says, Steve, you're late, and if I start giving excuses, I just made it personal. Because it's not personal. It's about my agreement to be here at a specific time. And if I'm not impeccable with my word, it's absolutely appropriate for you or someone to say, Steve, you said you would be here at this appointed time, and you're not here at this appointed time. It's about accountability. It's about the ability to account for reality. It's about responsibility, the ability to respond to reality.
Yeah.
So if we stick with don't let it get personal, I think we've covered agree to disagree, don't attack, and stop bringing up how much effort it took me to get here.
Yeah, Steve, you're right about being people have the right to be upset if we are late.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Just that like I said, the effort, but the thing is that, you know, there's a lot that has been people do respect the fact that you know, like if we're running from something and then we show up. So that has always been very, very I found very welcoming. However, anybody has the right to be unhappy if people are late. Yeah. So yes, I come to meetings with like last time, B. Blessinger, Robert Kiyosaki, all of them. You know, if you're late, then you take the consequences. That's it. And if somebody says you're upset with it, you have to take it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. I want to comment about the being late thing, but I think we understood what you're saying. Thank you for your contribution. Are you complete?
Yeah.
Now, Dynamite. Fred, you have your hand up. Please continue.
Yes, thank you. I agree with Anne for most of everything. All of us make the effort to be here, and that's completely true. My request that we abide by the rule which say that we should be on time to respect everybody's time is not about not making an effort or somebody makes an effort and is late and can be excused. It's about, one, you cannot be late each and every time and say that this does not apply to you. And second, it doesn't take more effort to be 10 minutes early than to be 10 minutes late. It's just a matter of deciding what time you're going to be there and be there. That's it. And the second point I would like to underline is you have the right to be upset if someone is late, as Anne said. Yes, but you don't have the right to be upset if somebody is late once because something happened. Shit happens and life happens and taxis are late and alarm clocks go to without being rewound or phones run out of batteries. Things happen. So if you're late once in a while, it's okay. Everybody knows you made the effort. You're sorry to be late, but it's not that at all. It's when you're late on a regular basis as a habit with no consequences. There has to be consequences if you're late, if we all agree that we should all be on time. That's all. So, and it's I'm glad you brought up Robert Kiyosaki. It's a matter of tightening our context. If our context is tighter, we can do bigger things, more things, larger things, more important things. If our context is loose, then nothing gets done, and we end up wasting everybody's time. That's it. I'm complete. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Fred. Fred, I heard you say that I don't have the right to be upset if somebody's late. Is that what you said? What did you say?
No, what I said is there's you can be late once in a while and everything's okay.
Yeah.
Let's say you're late one day and I'm not happy about it. Well, that's my problem. You're late because shit happens. Most of the time you're there on time and you start the call and it's nearly always on time.
Okay.
But
good.
if somebody, it's different. It's a different circumstances that somebody that doesn't even make the effort. I would like to come back. Manu said that, or you said, I forgot who said, but that at some moment there was an agreement with Kelly that he could show up at any time. Well, it's in contradiction with the first rule, which is if you're going to be absent or late, contact the designated person. You cannot have a blanket absolution for being late at every single time when everybody else has agreed to be on time and show respect to all others.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I mean, on one regard, Kelly isn't here now. It's not Kelly's meeting, and we're here right now, and it's our meeting, and we can make the ground rules that we want to make. And it comes down to a couple of things here. One of the things I'm going to do, I think I'm going to take all these rules from these different people, and I'm going to composite them into one rule list, and say, okay, be impeccable with my word is the Toltec, but show up is the Angelus Aaron point of view, and how they all apply together. And I think they're all really good ground rules, and there's something we can go with. I also want to say something else. When we can say I don't have the right to get upset about something, the truth is I'm going to get upset about whatever I get upset about it, and I have the right to feel my feelings. This goes beyond, I'm asking you to stretch a little bit and go beyond our meeting and be more like a family. In other words, I get to have permission to have my feelings wherever they are. Now, the question is, do I make it personal? Do I smear around? No, I don't want to make it personal at all, but I don't want to have a rule that says I can't have a feeling about something. The whole reasons why we tighten the context, the whole reason why we show up, the whole reason why we are being impeccable with our words, there's something in life to be benefited from making a commitment and sticking with that commitment at whatever the price. And many people don't get the opportunity to exercise that kind of self-discipline and that kind of self-responsibility, the ability to respond. And so I'm not going to agree with at all that I don't have a right to feel what I feel when I feel it. I have the right to feel what I feel when I feel it. However, I can come back to these rules and say, I'm not going to make it personal. I'm not going to say, well, I tried really hard to get to this meeting. It doesn't matter how hard I tried to get to the meeting. I'm here when I get here. Now, the question is that in alignment with the ground rules or not? And evidently, Manu has had these ground rules with Kelly from years ago, and it was years ago, that he could show up at whenever it was good for him to show up. And evidently, he made an exception. As I look back here, I'm sorry. When I look back here at the meeting,
you keep muting yourself.
Okay, good. I'm using a trick. They allow me to hold down my space key to talk. That way I can stay muted when I'm not talking. But Fred, you added something here at the beginning. It says here, I'm reading from the Code of Honor, that is Kelly's Code of Honor. New study group members are sworn in. new members are asked if they agree to each of the code of honor, to each item of the code of honor, by reading them out loud. The new member agrees in front of the group. Now, to me, that is a special opportunity, an invitation to be my word and to participate in this community, in this family with ground rules. Now, I'm going to say this about ground rules. Ground rules are absolutely critical. Every relationship has ground rules. Unfortunately, most people don't state the ground rules, and so they become subconscious. They're not respected. Ground rules are the way to create a tight context. They're the way to create being impeccable with my word. Ground rules are critical. And what we're talking about here are ground rules. And having everybody swear in and say, I'm going to agree in front of the group that I will be on time. That's a profound commitment. And most people don't get the opportunity to exercise that often enough in life. And this is the place to do it. And these are the community of people that can support them in doing it. Okay, thank you for allowing me to express my point of view. Go ahead.
I wanted to say, I remember you being sworn in.
You say what?
I remember you being sworn in your first session.
Do you really?
Yep.
Wow, I don't remember it at all. So
you don't remember?
No,
there has to be recording somewhere.
Wow. Well, I'd like to show that to my grandkids. I'll prove to them I'm not a slob. So, well, thank you. Gosh, you remember. Good, Fred, because I remember a couple times with you, but mainly the vector game is what drove me crazy. So I'm still have nightmares about the vector game at night. I don't know. Okay, well, we've had a good discussion for a few minutes on these topics. It seems to me there are a couple things we could do for Manu. One is we could say, let's move our time 15 minutes later, if that's okay with everybody. And then that would accommodate Manu for his 10 or 15 minutes that he needs to in order to not eliminate himself from the ground rules of the call. So that's one possibility. We could move our time, Manu, to 15 minutes later. We'd have to say what time that is for everybody. It'd be 9:15 my time, and it's 15 minutes later for everybody's time. We could do that. Or we can go with what Manu said. If we're not going to be willing to move the time, then we can trust that Manu can choose to say, well, I'm not going to be able to be here every time, therefore I choose to have my social life instead. So that's two possibilities. Does anybody see a third possibility?
Yes.
What's a third?
He can decide to be there on time and be on time.
Okay, well, that's good. That's a third possibility. Does anybody else have a
in my opinion, that's the simplest way to handle things. Say, look, we start at 5 o'clock, then I'll be there at 5. And then done.
Yeah. Or we can start at 5:15.
And then done.
5:15, right?
Exactly. That works for me. But then we have to have the agreement of everybody.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And then that would give Manu an opportunity to get that extra 15 minutes of sleep and still be impeccable with his word and still be conforming to Kelly's rules and our rules if we decide to make them those rules. Richard.
The good thing is that at this moment, we're going to be able to call these rules ours and no more Kelly's rules. Sorry, Richard, I didn't know you.
That's right. In fact, they're not our rules, they're my rules. I make them for me, and I participate in a group of people who make them for themselves. So it's not about me making you happy. It's about me making me happy and me trusting myself. This is what I was going to say. Richard, if you can hang on for just a second. As I began to exercise this, be impeccable with my word, because like 35 or 45 years ago, I started doing these LifeSpring Landmark S type workshops where the ground rule was you be in your seat when the door closes. That was the ground rule. And if you weren't in your seat when the door closes, the staff invited you to go outside. And here was what happened. This is what happened. Because I trained the staff. All the staff had to do was walk outside with that person and say, are you clear? Can you join the meeting clear without bringing a bunch of crud in here? Or are you going to bring all your lateness and all your effort into the meeting? Or are you going to leave all your effort and all your lateness outside here and come into the meeting and be present? That's all the stuff had to do. And you would be surprised at how people would go outside the door and argue about how they were justified at being 5 minutes late, or how rotten the group is because they have no tolerance for anybody who has an issue. It's so crazy what people, how they defend themselves in these issues. And all they had to do was just go outside and say, I'm clear, I can join the meeting. I'm not bringing in my effort, I'm focused. That's all they had to do. And it was amazing the people that could not do that. So there's real value in the commitment to be at the appointed time. And in more ways than one, it clears up a bunch of stuff in life. Here's what I was saying. When I learned that I could be impeccable with my word, my guilt just completely went away. In other words, if I said to myself, I'm not going to do that again, I knew I was not going to do that again. And I didn't have to carry it around and worry about it ever again. It's like when Jesus said, repent and your sins will be white as snow. When he talks to the prostitute at the well and says, go thy way and sin no more. It's like I give myself permission. I know that when I say I'm going to do something, that is exactly what I'm going to do. And so I don't carry a bunch of guilt around with me. I don't carry a bunch of, I trust myself more in this situation. So I thought I would point that out. There's real value in being my word, and there's real value in having a place where I can exercise that impeccability. I'm complete. Fred. And then Richard.
Robert Kiyosaki, during his seminars, had a set of rules like this. You're late, $10. You need to pee, $10. You come back, you want to leave early, $10. And there's somebody at the door that collects. Well, we can't do that here, but or we need to have a deposit from everybody, and then when it's over, you have to replenish. But he was charging people. Your cell phone goes off, it's $100. That's it. No cell phones. So everybody is there at the beginning. Nobody leaves before the end. And if you have to take your pill, you have a heart attack, and you have to leave or something, $10. That's
a good idea. I would just say in my workshops, if a person could not get clear and come into the room with no garbage, that's worth more than $10. To discover that I can't get clear and walk into the room without making a big deal about all the sacrifice I made to be here, and how much of my life.
That was 20 years ago, so it could be $50 now.
Yeah, that's true. But I was trying to focus on the other aspect. Okay, Richard, did you have your hand up, or were you about to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say something about the experience that you just talked about in terms of being able to take people outside the room and basically say, are you in or are you out? And that reflects on my understanding of and practice that I've tried around self-organizing. And you have a vision and a purpose like we've got. You've got some leadership, facilitator roles that like we have. And then you have not only rules or the basic operating things, we also have values. And so there's a dialogue, if you want, between values and rules and with the leadership or mission and the leadership. And they're all interconnected in 6 different ways, minimum. And so to work with that kind of framework, I think is really valuable. And I had the same experience that if somebody was not inside the circle, so to speak, and doing what they promised, then the way to address it in terms of adherence is to say, okay, you're outside what we agreed to inside, and it's your choice. You can stay out there and not participate, or you can come back in with if you want a new resolve to work inside that foursome. So yeah, I agree with that, and the consequence then is, to some extent, the way you were discussing it today, that we have a choice. We can stay inside the circle and follow the values and the rules and the purpose and the guidance or leadership, or we can say, that's more than what I'm prepared to do. Or I can say, if I'm out and you point it out to me, I can say, oh my gosh, I do want to be in, and I'm going to do something that will honor everything that's in there. And that may be the on-time issue, it may be some other issue. So I like what you said, and I can put it into a framework that operationalize it. My point really is that rules by themselves, I don't think are enough if they're not balanced with the values that feed into the rules, or the rules that sometimes override the value. And if the value, for example, is flexibility, or the value is forgiveness, or the value is, any number of things, then we got to see the relationship between the value and the rule and the mission and the guidance. So I'm complete. Thank you.
All right, I'm seeing Fred, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Thank you, Richard. I amended the Code of Honor so that it says now, I am willing to be on time. It shows respect for the only non-renewable resource of others. It is a chance to build trust when possible. I will let the designated person know if I will be absent or late. I will support all questions. Why did someone ask that question? Nothing is irrelevant, one person's tangent, etc. I am willing to ask questions and share insights. And number 4, I will tell my truth and agree to disagree. I am hereby making these rules mine, and I agree to abide by them. Richard, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, what I like about what you just said, and what I previously just said, is that we end up with a frame of the kind that I just spoke to, and then you take what has just been amended, and it goes inside, and that gives us an idea of what it is we're going to do when we're inside that framework. And so again, the framework gives a little bit of structure. I think it's very clear in the sense of the vision, the values, and the rules, and the leadership. And then inside is this self-organizing principle that says, if I said I'm going to try and live up to these, I'm going to try and live up to them. And if you think that I'm not doing it, you have every right to sort of call me and invite me to step outside if you want. In fact, it's not inviting me to step outside. It's basically saying, I am outside. What am I going to do about it? Am I going to get back in and follow those steps? Or am I going to make a choice that says that I can't do that anymore, or I don't want to, or I've got other things to do? Yeah, so I like this. I mean, I think this is pulling a list of guidelines inside a framework, and the onus is on us in terms of how we're going to behave to keep heading towards the vision. And sometimes we do it a little bit differently than each other. We don't have to be like horses in a harness. We all have to pull it same way, same time. That's the beauty for me of self-organizing. And it gets us to where we want to be without a 5-year plan that says you have to follow every little step. Yeah, thank you. I'm complete. I like what it's starting to unfold.
Really good. Fred.
Thank you. I'd like to call it frame. Kiyosaki used to call it context. I think context is more related to your own way of handling things, and frame applies very much to something that you want to be part of. So that's good. I added something. I added something in the code of honor there. I'm giving permission to group members to call me if they find I am out of this frame.
In other words, you edited your original post and added that in. Is that what you did?
Yeah,
At the
bring
end of
it
my
up to date.
code of honor. Yeah. You said you're going to write it, so I'm trying to help you there.
Okay, good. No, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It's too bad that Zoom, it does allow me to do a breakout room. This is only 6 people, and maybe we should have enough permission to pause and actually have a clearing as a new person comes in. We kind of do that when we break and say, how are you feeling and what do you expect today? In a way, that's a very good clearing because it's bringing the person into the room and they're joining in. I really like this. I am hereby making these rules mine, and I agreed to abide by them. This is the self-organizing principle that Richard's talking about. I am giving permission to the group members to call me if they find I am out of this frame. In my thing, I said alignment with my ground rules. Go ahead.
The wording is on the spot. It's a live writing rule, so it has to be sort of amended. See if it flows. Yeah.
Oh, I like them. I think they're
Okay.
pretty cool. Like I say, I would say it a little bit differently, but out of this frame is really good wording. It's different. But
Okay. Okay. Good.
Okay. So we're approaching our.
I don't think we need breakout rooms. I think in the eventuality that somebody new comes in, before we go through the how do you feel like saying, how you're feeling and what is your desired takeaway today as it is now, we can have this person introduce itself and go through this question. That's what we used to do. What we used to do is a new person would introduce itself, say, I'm Fred, I'm French, I live in China, I've been in the group for so many years and I would like to join again for some reasons. And then read the rules and say, okay, I agree with all that and I will do my best to follow all this. And if I don't, let me know.
Yeah. You're talking about when a new person comes in or when somebody's.
When a new person comes in.
I like that. I like that idea. So that could be a ground rule that will have each person swear in, kind of like this, make the commitment. Let me tell you what, when we'd ask the person to step outside, the key words that we were looking for was, I acknowledge that I am beyond my agreement and I'm present to this moment. It's to just say, I acknowledge I'm late. I acknowledge I'm not at the appointed time and I'm here now. And maybe when someone is late to our meeting, they could come in instead of saying how they're feeling and what they expect, they could say, I acknowledge that I'm late and I'm committed to join at the appropriate time. This is how I feel, and this is how, this is my expectation for the meeting. So that statement of, I acknowledge I'm late and I recommit to be here at the appointed time. That's all the clarity. That's all the story that's needed. How much effort is irrelevant. I could have had a death in the family. It doesn't matter. I acknowledge I'm late. I'm ready to recommit and I'll be here at the appointed time. And here's how I'm feeling and here's what I expect today. So we might make that part of the meeting. If a person comes in not at the appointed time, they say that. I acknowledge I'm late. I recommit to the ground rule or to be here at the appointed time, rule number 1. And here's how I'm feeling and here am I. How do you like that for additional ground rule? Good. Fred says good. Lee says good. How do you feel about that for an additional ground rule, Richard?
I would want to have a little bit more discussion as to whether it's a ground rule or a value, and to keep putting those two things together. And the other, in terms of the frame, I would be interested in what I would call a diamond frame that has these 4 things. And of course, when you look at it in a diamond frame way, we'll obviously discover the tetrahedron. And so I would like the frame to be articulated. And one suggestion is that there's a vision, purpose. We may have language that describes what that is. We got values, we got rules, and we got leadership or guidance. And it's not one leadership necessarily. It can fluctuate, but that's the framework. And then inside is all the things that we've just been talking about.
Do you have time to prepare something like that? Because I understand kind of what
Yeah.
you're saying, but I'd like to see the structure. Do you have time to prepare that and submit it to us?
Yeah.
All right, good. Because I see a hexagon, which are the 5 ground rules, and the 6 ground rules. If I'm late, I will acknowledge I'm late. I will recommit to keeping the ground rules, and then I'll go. So I see a hexagon.
Yeah, well, you've just described the rules in a hexagon form. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'm talking about a basic framework.
I hear you.
So
So that's why I'd like to see what you're talking about.
yeah.
I
has
like
to
the
be-
rules. Go ahead, Fred.
It has to be a tetrahedron. We will never be forgiven if it's not a tetrahedron.
The trouble is that a tetrahedron has how many edges? 8 edges, right?
Six. That's good.
No.
6.
No, there's a tetrahedron has 8 edges because it has the 4 coming down. Oh, it has 3 coming down. Okay, good. It has 3 coming down, then the 3 around the bottom. So that's 6 edges. Okay, so that's a hexagon in a 2-dimensional
4
brain.
times 3 minus 2.
Yeah. So if I'm a 2-dimensional brain, it's a hexagon. If I'm a 4-dimensional brain, it's a tetrahedron. Okay, good. And I think actually that's why a lot of chemistry is written in hexagons, is because they can't think in 4D. You know, if they could think tetrahedron, they'd do it, and they probably get closer to the truth. But they do hexagons, right? They do molecular structures. Okay,
Yeah, they went from triangles to hexagon because that's a big improvement, but they missed something.
okay. At least they came out of squares, you know. Okay. So part of me says, shall we? Let's get all this organized for next time in terms of what our ground rules are, and in order to expedite certain issues, let's agree. See if Manu, are you still here, and are you willing that if we all agree to begin this meeting 15 minutes later, that's a time commitment that you can keep, or would you rather say no? I don't want to risk that. I would rather just have my social life and not attend on the weekend meeting. Should we see if we want to move the meeting 15 minutes? It's up to you, sir.
See my face well. Okay. To me, participating in the meeting, being truthful, contributing, and doing those things are the overall. And I like one thing that Anne say, you are late, you shut up. To me, that summarizes everything. So everything else, that is to play the gatekeeper and to say you're finding somebody in this and that, I disagree with. So that is clear. And I haven't said that I prefer my social life. You know that I had a burnout. I don't want to repeat here. I was off this call for 3 months because I had a burnout. I wasn't sleeping. So I've talked a little bit. I say that is enough for my background. So what works for me, if I come in a meeting and I don't know how it disturbs somebody that I come in a meeting, but if I come in a meeting, if I have a participation, something to participate, I'll shut up, I'll make my note, and I'll send it after the meeting. That's it. Because there are a lot of people on this call. I don't know if those names have been cut out. They are never shown up to the meeting. So the activity in participating and contributing, since it's leading and distracting, you shut up, you listen. Unless I'm told that listening is in violation of anything. So that's what works for me. And that is, to me, the whatever, I don't know if to express it in a tetrahedron or something else. I cannot really, if somebody doesn't come to call or it come late, I don't see how it distracts me. The rule should be, there's no excuse for being late. If there are two people, you start the meeting. That's another way of seeing it. You start your meeting. And the quid pro quo for that is that if you come, as Anne or Lee said, you shut up. Let the people go with what they started. It is a dialogue. As long as there are two people, it is a dialogue. I don't know why I should be taxed because I came 30 minutes late. And if you are distracted, that is your weakness. You correct it. You should learn at this age not to be distracted on a call that is online because somebody came in late and didn't say anything. Thank you.
Okay, so what I heard you not say is that, and what my question to you, Manu, was, if we move the meeting to 15 minutes later, can you commit to being on time for that? Because we've given you that extra 15 minutes. Can you commit?
No, no,
okay.
no.
Okay.
Let's try half an hour.
Well, we could go to a half an hour. What if we went to a half an
Let's
hour?
let's go to half an hour, because I've been told that when I said I don't believe it, I had everybody was against me because I said I do not believe it that he would do that.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
let's find out. Half an hour. Would you do that?
but let's
Would
don't
you
make it personal.
5:30?
And we can, and I'm happy to give that opportunity. Manu, if we started the meeting a half hour later, would you commit to being on at the appointed time? Can you go back to Kelly's ground rules and make it your ground rule that you'll be on time to respect that resource? And if we made it a half an hour later, would you be able to be there?
No.
Commit.
And I say again, no, yeah, it's not that I cannot. Let me talk. I say no because I don't know how it affects somebody else.
Don't worry about
I say,
other
I shut up.
No, don't worry
It's
about
not
that.
about other people. This is not, it's about you. This is the
No,
punch.
I say no. I say no.
Okay, because the punchline is that I hereby make these ground rules mine and I agree to abide them. And so all we're trying to do is create a Skinner box, an opportunity to be impeccable with my word. That's why I would agree to this, whether we started at the current time or an hour earlier or an hour later. The question is, can I be impeccable with my word? That's the question. And you're telling me, I just heard you say that even if we moved the meeting a half an hour later, you would not commit to being at the appointed time.
Yeah, because it's been about me being impeccable with my word. And nobody judged me on that. So
it's not about people judging you on it. It's about, are you willing?
no, let's not get to the point.
Word?
My answer to you was no. 30
Okay,
minutes.
no. Okay,
no.
good. Okay. Okay. Okay, so then the question is, and I think what we ought to do is we ought to get Richard's structure. I'll do the composite of these ground rules. And we'll just have another meeting next week and see what it takes. Is everybody cool with that? We'll just wait and decide next week. Okay, good. So let's go around and do some takeaways before we close the meeting. Richard, how are you feeling? Well, let's start with you, Manu. You just spoke. So how are you feeling, Manu? And what are your takeaways tonight?
I'm feeling quite relaxed. And I'm feeling, I hope that I made my point clear where I am with this call. So that's the way I feel. And I have nothing personal against anybody. But by the same token, I will appreciate not to be called names. This one is personal about me. I'm saying it publicly here that I do not appreciate it. I've never called anybody here on the call a name. I've never said you are this or that. And I will appreciate that everybody else respects that. Thank you. I wish you a nice week ahead. Lee, how do you feel? What do you take away?
You got to mute. You have to mute.
This has been quite an experience of going back and forth and having a lot of new added parts to it. And of course, having a hexagon or a tetrahedron is so cute. I really thought that was neat. I was very interested in all that has been said, and I can't wait for next week to find out how all these inputs are put together to make it a great rule for our meetings. And this means it's not just this meeting, it'll be for our Wednesday meeting also. Don't you think?
Well, you talk to
Only
Wade.
if the Wednesday people agree to it. But
Yeah.
we can have our
Yes.
meeting. We can have our rules for Saturday night. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay. Well, Anne, how are you feeling? Even though we can't see you, we know you're there. And what is your takeaway?
And why don't you try to turn on your video just in case it's actually working? And if it starts to falter, we'll let you know and you can come back to audio. But I'd love to see you if you think you can get it to work. It's up to you. Good.
Sure. Because for a point, we're starting to get choppy again. Yeah, let me know if it gets choppy. Yeah, actually, I'm feeling I'm feeling like lighter. Yeah, that we have had this session, and it's something that a lot of people, a lot of groups, a lot of organizations, and even family groups, should have this kind of conversation to sit down and really talk it out like that. And so I'm really happy for us to be able to put this out there. And thank you so much. I felt very safe, very safe doing this. And moving forward, committed to telling the truth. And I myself also have to recommit on my timing too. Okay, so I think I make it a point to be here, but I'm not impeccable. So that one is myself. I have to make sure I am committed to that. I think I may need to set my own alarm. Yeah. So this is a very powerful meeting, and for me to make sure my commitment is true to it as well. Thank you very much, everyone. Yeah. And Richard, how do you feel, and what is your takeaway today?
Well, I really feel the dynamics of Bohemian dialogue, the dynamics of what I think they mean around suspended judgment, and that out of a lot of what may appear to be chaotic kind of dialogue surfaces or emerges something that is a refit or a better fit or a new fit of what we're about. And so I'm excited about the idea of putting this framework out for our consideration. And the way it's envisioned is that there's a vision, purpose, where we're headed. That probably needs some articulation. We have on one side the rules, and they're now listed out in that hexagon 6 quite nicely. There's some values which need to be articulated in whatever number there might be that is important for us. And then we have if you want the leadership, which can be identified as something like co-leadership or facilitated leadership, but there's a particular kind of leadership, I think, that reflects what we're trying to do. And then that gives us that framework, and we get some details in each of the four areas. We've already got the details, a good list of the details on the rule side, the six, and so I'll make that draft, and I'll try and show what I've just said in a way that it's in a graphic type of form, and I will sketch the tetrahedron in what would look like a diamond framework. And so instead of going for a gold standard within our group, we can go for a diamond standard. And if we really get going on this, at someday we will have if you want, a fullerene standard. We'll have the third form of carbon and not just the diamond form. So that's something to look forward to in the future, a possibility. Steve or Fred, how are you feeling, and what's your takeaway?
Thank you, Richard. I added operating rules, which were the one that we also had with Kelly. Did that in the chat. I'm going to read them. It says it's okay to allow members to flow in and out of the study group, but stressed continuity of commitment. The sessions are recorded, and notes are taken to create an artifact. The archive may have independent value in the future. Study group members may be asked to cooperate with the creation of the artifact. Planned call length is 2 hours with flexibility at the mercy of the group agreement. The intention is to use multiple forms of media to do more with less, to gain experience and cooperate. That was in the invitations, I believe, in the invitations that Kelly used to send. They were not called operating rules at that moment. This is something we worked later, but the wording is as close to the original as I could remember. Manu said that if the time and rules are to be enforced, I am out, in order to be impeccable to my word. I think we should respect that. That's my takeaway today, is that, okay, if you don't abide by the rule, then you're not in the group, and that's your choice. Because what I saw was that obviously there's a strong reluctance into abiding by somewhat easy to abide by rules. We've tried to be flexible, to offer 15 minutes and half an hour. It's just a matter of, no, I don't want to bother with being on time, that's all. And I had a question for Steve. Steve, you keep telling us you are recognized with a diploma, hypnose master or something like that. Can you use your hypnosis with Manu so he just be on time by magic?
Yeah, say we have a rule that we're not going to do anything personal. I actually chose not to be. Is it my turn for a takeaway? Fred, did you just pass it to me?
That's basically my takeaway. I spoke a lot today, so that's my takeaway. Thank you. So, Steve, if you want to reply, that's what is your takeaway? How are you feeling today, and what is your takeaway, Steve?
Well, I thank you, Fred, and I want to be frank. I completed the education to be certified as a clinical hypnotherapist, and I was involved in some therapy groups and worked with ritual sexual abuse and worked with just normal sexual abuse and worked with adult children of alcoholics. And I developed a program, in fact, a work group outline for the adult children of alcoholics. They based it on the alcoholic thing, and it was like so stuck. And so I worked with another guy over a 3-year period. We rewrote the ground rules for the meeting, and we would say the ground rules at the beginning of the meeting, and then we'd open up to share and have a topic. And it was all about speaking in the first person. It was all about our 5 agreements, the agreements we've talked about today. And now the 6th agreement, that if I'm late, I'll acknowledge it, recreate the ground rule, and go ahead. When I left that group after like 5 years, they used that those guidelines for like 15 years after I left. So I felt like that I'd made a contribution to the adult children of alcoholics. But I don't like to get into people's heads and mess around with them. I always tell people say, "Oh, please hypnotize me, hypnotize me." And I go, "Why? What do you want to be hypnotized?" "I want to stop smoking." And I go, "Stop smoking. Why do you want somebody to get in your freaking head and tell you to do something you can't choose to do on your own?" And I think that's one of the big issues today with psychedelic drugs, hallucinogenic drugs, with therapies, with medicine. Nothing is geared to moving out of the frame and into absolute interdependence and independent interdependence. There's nothing there. Everybody wants you to stay in the group. Adult children of alcoholics, they want you to stay in that group. And, medicine wants you to keep taking this thing. Nope, it's time to break out. And I think that having these ground rules and making the commitment to be here at a specific time is so helpful. There are no places on the planet where this kind of thing can happen on a regular basis. And so with that saying, I'd say, Richard, you talked about, chaotic dialogue. And I want to say this to Anne, because Anne, one of the reasons why I was willing to jump into this whole conversation was because you said that it was a scary conversation for you and that you have an issue with somebody in your operation. Listen, these guys, I've had guys like that in my companies for a long time. I remember one time, pardon me for the excursion here, but this guy was a really narcissistic dude. He would just like have no boundaries. I had a real estate office and I had like 13 agents, and I had 5 of them come to me and say, "If that guy stays around here, I'm going to quit. That guy's a bully. He's obnoxious. And he's not professional." And I talked to him like 3 or 4 times. And then finally, one of my best guys said, "Look, I'm leaving if that guy stays." So I brought him in the office, and I started talking with him, and I could tell it was going the same way. I literally leaned over this dude and almost stood on my desk, and I yelled, "Dude, you're not, you're discourteous to these people. You will not do this again." And he said, "Dude, why didn't you say so?" It's like the guy was so stuck in his narcissistic paradigm that he didn't hear me ask him 18 times. I had to approach him like a narcissist to get him to understand that he'd broken the rules. And he was the nicest guy after that. But man, it scared the shit out of me, and it was tough. I will say, Anne, that what we didn't do, but we had it underlying here, if you're going to have a meeting like this with people and you have some stray cats, start out with ground rules. Start out with your 5 ground rules. I'm going to be impeccable with my word. I'm not going to take anything personally. I'm not going to make it personal. I'm not going to make any assumptions, and I'm going to do the best I can. And I'm going to, doubt everything. I think our ground rules are set. And once you set that it's kind of like a Skinner box. Once you set that tetrahedron, once you set that hexagon or that diamond or whatever it is, and then you have the conversation within that structure, it can't get personal. And if you do, you pause, say, "Hey," and you might want to have like a talking stick or something where you pass it around so that everybody gets to talk. But then you have the magic wand. And when you hold it up, everybody shuts up and you get to talk, because you're calling to order. You're going to make sure everything is respectful and that it doesn't become a personal thing, because people like to make it personal. Most people have been called names. They've been persecuted most of their lives, and they don't understand self-respect. They don't understand respecting others. And I think one of the reasons the reason why they killed Jesus and he stood before Pilate there and he said, like, how can you say that you are the Son of God? And they were going to kill him for that. And he said, well, wait a minute, your own scriptures say that ye are gods. And the scriptures say you are gods, and you're going to kill me just because I say I'm the son of God? You know, human beings don't understand their potential. They don't understand their divinity. They don't understand. And most people stay in their story and they don't come to their truth. And Lee, I'm going to talk about us for just a second. Every once in a while, Lee and I will have a disagreement. And I'll say, Lee, you said you do this and you did that. And when she comes back to me, she's like, well, I used to this and there. And I go, Lee, I don't care about all that. What I care about is, do you like having this, doing it this way? Yes, I do. Then don't tell me what you used to do. Tell me what you're going to do. And it's like in this thing, do you acknowledge that you have a broken agreement? And do you recommit to the agreement? That is all we need. We don't need 15 reasons why it was cool 15 years ago. We just need to know, are you going to be in the present moment? Are you going to recreate the ground rules? I really like what Fred posted in these, as he kind of tracked through and he posted in there. That's really cool. I'm looking forward to this big conversation. So I hope, Anne, that you got something from our process. Manu, I do not want to create any health issues for you. And if you need to sleep, you need to sleep. And if you need 15 minutes more sleep or half an hour more sleep, I'm happy to accommodate. But it's so important you take care of your health. And as Fred said, if you choose not to come to, if we decide to stick some ground rules, and you can't make them your ground rules for whatever reason, to keep yourself healthy or whatever reason, then I just really respect you in making a good decision for yourself. And I'm really grateful that we had this conversation. And I'm grateful that you feel, Manu, that you feel good about the conversation. So that's really good. The whole thing here for me is about, am I willing to be impeccable with my word? To me, that's the issue. That's why I came to this planet. That's why I came here. And to have a community that will support me in being impeccable with my word is absolutely critical. We don't get that kind of support anywhere else. And so, and in final closing, I have a very cool song by Richie Havens. And I'm going to post the words in the chat along with a link to the music. And I hope that each of you will listen to the song. It's so cool. But I'm going to read the poem as my final takeaway. Let not your heart be heavy. Oh, it starts out, to all those outside the inner side. Everybody outside the circle, let not your heart be heavy. There are those who understand. It is not easy. It is not easy to tell a lie. Just think about it. To all those inside the outer side, to everybody who's in the circle, everybody thinks they're in the circle, let not your head be heavy. There are those who understand it is not easy. It is not easy to know what to do. And the final verse is, to all those who understand, let not your words be heavy. There is he who understands. It is not easy. It is not easy to be a mother and a father. It is such a beautiful song. It is such a beautiful song. It's there at the end, and I hope you all listen to it if you get a minute and have a chance to do it. I have tears in my eyes right now. I'm very grateful for this group. Nowhere can we have conversations this powerful. And I trust that we're going to look at Richard's presentation. I'm going to do some stuff. I'm sure Fred's going to do some stuff. We'll do some stuff, and you may want to do some stuff. Let us know how you're going to prepare for your big confrontation with your narcissistic jerk that you have to deal with. So I'm very excited what we're learning here and what we have a chance to share. I'm so grateful. I'm complete. Anybody else have any last minute takeaways? Last minute comments? Okay.
Have a great weekend.
See you all. Bye-bye.